conversation. Hi, everybody. I am State Senator John Cronin. Welcome to this month's episode of Cronin's Corner. I am pleased to be joined this month by my guest, local businessman, philanthropist, the chairman now, but the CEO and founder of the largest employer in North Central Massachusetts, AIS, Bruce Platzman. So Bruce, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. And before we get into the substance of this, this is going to be shown in a week or two. So do you have a prediction for the Celtics series?
We're going to win in 6.
Win in 6.
Yeah, and I hope it goes 6 because I have the tickets for Game 6.
Oh, do you really?
Yes,
All right,
yes.
good. And Game 6 is at home, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, that would be good. All right, so you heard it here, Celtics in 6. But Bruce, thanks so much for joining us today. AIS is an incredible company that you built. Can you tell us about just a history of the company and how you ended up here in North Central?
Yeah, we started in downtown Boston, just myself and Arthur Maxwell, 2 employees that started the company in selling used and remanufactured furniture, quickly grew and continued to grow. We moved to Hudson and Clinton. We were in like 5 different buildings, and we're looking for one standalone facility in 2012. And it's difficult in Massachusetts with the type of manufacturing we do, which is office furniture, and we call that pretty basic traditional manufacturing. And as we all know, our state's known for high tech and biotech. And my board of directors wanted me to look in different directions, but I was adamant about staying and being committed to the state of Massachusetts. Ended up finding this building in Leominster, Massachusetts. It's 600,000 square feet. We renovated it, worked with the state as well as the city for certain tax incentives, TIFs and STAs, and everything worked out. And today we employ, as I said, 800 employees in our factory.
That's remarkable. And one of the biggest office manufacturers in the country, too.
Yes.
So how do you stay competitive in Massachusetts? As you said, this is a hard place for legacy manufacturing economy to be able to sustain and survive. But AIS has found a way to really thrive here. Yeah. And how have you done it?
The team that we've put together has really embraced kind of a cliche in the manufacturing world of lean manufacturing. And lean really embraces how to do more with less. And that may be less space, it may be less equipment. And we've been able to be one of the world leaders in that, and we've been recognized in so many different ways for being able to compete in a very difficult marketplace to do traditional manufacturing.
And what do you attribute that to from your leadership, right? I mean, you and Arthur Maxwell started this, and it has grown because you've innovated, but what do you attribute that growth to? I mean,
our go-to-market strategy and our culture is very unique, not only for our industry, but really for the state of Massachusetts and everything that we stand for. We give people a lot of authority, and we are looking for people that want to build careers, whether it's in the factory, whether it's in the office area. We don't want people to come in that are looking to have a job for 2 months, 1 year. We're looking for people that want a career to support themselves as well as their families and to grow. And we're now, having been in business 32 years, we have some 3rd-generation people in our factory, which is great, and it's a good story.
You talked about, too, how AIS and yourself are committed to Massachusetts. Could you give everybody just some background about how you came to found the company, your kind of upbringing and starting the business?
So as far as being committed to Massachusetts, it probably starts with myself. I'm 65 years old, and my entire life has been in the state of Massachusetts. I grew up in Sharon. I went to Babson College in Wellesley, and my entire professional career of about 40 years, which has been in the furniture business as well, has been entirely in this state. So what do I love about it, and what do we really look for in our organization? I mean, who could not love? You started off the sports, the mountains.
And it's been a good couple of decades for us,
the diversity
right?
of the seasons, and just everything that goes along with New England and Massachusetts. I am so passionate about and so committed to make sure this company stays here for as many years as it's in business, which hopefully will be many more.
And you talked about how some of the competitive advantages that AIS has been able to develop, lean manufacturing, a commitment to getting people who want to be committed to the company and who are going to stay in the long term. What are some of the challenges that AAS faces? I think in terms of, we all know that Massachusetts isn't the easiest place to do business for a manufacturer, and that's so what are the things that Massachusetts needs to do to be and remain competitive so more companies like yours can not just operate here but thrive here?
I mean, some of the things that we're going to talk about later in the segment with Mass Hire, the state needs to realize that manufacturing is still thriving in this state, but they need to take a look inward and develop programs and incentives and encourage people to pursue a career in manufacturing, because for so many years, especially in a state like this that has so many great colleges and universities, we've told our kids the only way to make a living is to go to a 4-year school and get a job maybe in high tech or biotech or some other industry. And the exact opposite's happening, especially in central Massachusetts. It's a great place to start a career. And manufacturing's not like our grandfathers, sweatshop of the 50s and 60s. It's high tech, a lot of CNC machinery, and you can really, use your schooling and develop yourself professionally.
And I've been on the floor at AAS. It's kind of like Star Trek, right? I mean, it is not, as you said, your mom and pop's conception of an old mill or a factory. Right. I mean, everything is high tech. It's clean. It's professional, and it's just remarkable that it's happening here in Leominster to the extent and the growth that you've been able to do. But what would you say is the single greatest challenge that AIS has to stay in Massachusetts and to be competitive, not just here in the country, but across the globe?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's access to employees.
Yeah.
It's access to talented employees, people that want to learn, people who want to grow, and that's a challenge. There are different opportunities in Central Mass because of the the demographics of our population, and we've been able to tap into that, and word of mouth has allowed us to really continue to grow and develop. But we're struggling like a lot of people, not financially. We're very strong both top line and bottom line.
You can't keep up with demand, right?
Yeah, it's been crazy. When COVID started, we really didn't know where we were going as far as an organization. We make office furniture. All you heard about was the hybrid model and people working from home and
commercial leases.
It's
not going to exist anymore.
Everyone's going to shed their space, and et cetera, et cetera. And I was concerned about the viability of the company, and I can tell you that in 2019 we did $224 million in sales. This year in 2022 we'll do $260 million. Do
you attribute that to people reimagining what office spaces look like? And has that been an opportunity for you to be a part of that kind of transformation across the country?
That's a great question, and it's been a couple different reasons. First of all, there are certain industries that are still thriving and taking on space exponentially, biotech, high tech.
Here in Massachusetts.
In Massachusetts, which is the #1 state and probably the #1 area in the world for a biotech. Other agencies are also growing. But at the same time, as you just said, it's many organizations looking at their facility in a post-COVID environment and going, we probably need to restack this in a different way. And so that change presents opportunities for us. And the other thing that's happening is, yes, people are working from home on a hybrid model, but we still need to supply them an office when they do come into work, whether that's 1 day a week or 4 or 5 days a week. So all those are presenting opportunities for us.
Great. And to go back to kind of the single greatest challenge that you face, the workforce issues, how have you worked with entities at the state funds, Mass Hire or local education facilities, Mount Wachusett or our high schools, to create kind of these pathways into advanced manufacturing and 21st century entry?
We've had to become very nimble and flexible on creative ways to grow our workforce and to find people. And one of the things that the relationship that we've been able to develop with Mass Hire over the last few years has been very helpful. And we've been able to take advantage of some of the grants that are out there in training. So we're training our workforce, and maybe on safety, maybe on different ways of manufacturing. And the state of Mass Hire have made us aware of those programs, and we've been able to participate in those. One of the other things that's been great is we had an opportunity to send a team of our supervisors on the factory floor through training through some of the different universities or colleges that are out there that are supporting advanced manufacturing programs in conjunction with Mass Hire. And that's been great. We sent 10 people there. We have not lost any of them.
That's great.
They're all coming back very highly trained.
And, In your 32 years with AAS, have you ever seen the workforce challenges that you do now?
Not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
It's puzzling to me why people are not coming back to work, and it's also a sign that the economy is strong, and that's a good thing.
And we are close to full employment.
Yeah. We are close to full employment. But I think that the companies that are being creative, companies that are working with MassHire, working with the state, the different colleges around in the manufacturing sector, are succeeding as compared to some of the other industries that are out there.
And I think we've got some nascent programs here, specifically in North Central, that MassHire administers and is critical to. But to the people at home, so MassHire, and our next guest will be Jeff Roberge, who's the executive director. MassHire is really the glue that connects the workforce that we're trying to develop with regionally aligned industry. And there's no better example, in my opinion, of the needs of regional industry than the needs of AIS, and specifically the advanced manufacturing sector in North Central. So can you talk to me just more about your relationship with MassHire and how the grants that the state is committed to workforce development are starting to make a difference with AIS?
Yeah, as I mentioned, safety is critical to what we do. We have 800 people in a factory, and we've put all our employees through different safety programs, and those have been supported by the state in certain grants. Obviously, the training that we talked about already, but MassHire also acts somewhat like an employment agency. In other words, people on the street that are looking for jobs go into MassHire, and MassHire will counsel them and mentor them on depending on what their skill sets are, and educational background, and language skills, and match them with the right employer.
And provide them options too, right, to align with their interests. Yeah.
Exactly. And the other thing is, unlike a lot of different places, we're able to post our openings with them as well. And because of the relationship we have and our reputation in the marketplace and within the community, we're known as a great place to work. So MassHire will immediately turn to somebody and say, we have got this great company in Leominster, you can build a career, and assuming manufacturing's the direction they want to go. And so that has worked out extremely well.
And I know one of the new programs that the state has funded is called the Career Technical Institutes, and they exist across the state, but again, they're regionally aligned with industry's needs. So North Central's needs are different from South Coast, and the offshore wind industry is different from biomanufacturing in Greater Boston. But what we've tried to do is establish a pathway that uses our vocational schools and provides more opportunities, and it is going towards and is being funding at what we hope becomes a 3-shift model, where high school kids are at our vocational schools during the day, a second shift of kids who maybe weren't able to access vocational training or able to access a program in the afternoon, and then underemployed or unemployed adults are able to access training at night. And I think that's really critical, and I think that's kind of a paradigm shift into how we've been thinking about regional workforce development strategies.
It definitely is a shift, because vocational schools, you'd asked me about where the state could really improve, and they have really started to commit to those vocational schools and the community schools as well, and they need to continue to do that. If we're going to provide opportunities, we do need to educate our children on the different opportunities that are not necessarily a 4-year degree.
Right. And I think, with the student debt crisis across the country too, people are starting to realize that a path to the middle class, there are many ways to get in there.
Right.
And if we can give a young person a skilled trade to enter the workforce, to enter a company like AIS with high wages, benefits, paid time off, you name it.
And no college debt.
And no college debt, right? I mean, that is a ticket to the middle class. And it's not only good for that young person, but it's stabilizing our entire regional economy, which allows us to do everything else. All the investments that we want to make in education and our infrastructure, you name it. So one question that I had about AIS is where would you like to see the company be in the future? I mean, it's incredible what you've built over the 32 years since you started the company, and you are in a new role now, right? So as of today, officially, and I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
No longer the chief executive,
CEO,
now the chairman, which has got to kind of feel good.
Yep.
A little bit.
In a lot of ways, it's where it's day one, mixed emotions. the company I started and really ran day to day for 32 years with Arthur Maxwell. It's just, we're both handing the baton over to Nick Haratos, who will do a great job. He's been with us over 7 years now, and I've known him for 40 years, so he'll do a great job at taking a baton and running with it.
So where would you like to see AAS go into the future?
Obviously I want the company to remain strong and continue to be in Massachusetts and provide more and more opportunities. But we're known within the region of not only a great place to work, but we're extremely philanthropic. We're involved in so many endeavors within Central Mass.
I remember the first time we met, I went into your office and you said, if there's something going on in the area, we don't want to just participate, we want to be the leader. We want to be number one.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, we want to carry the water for it.
And that's great causes. So many charities that Fitchburg and Leominster and Worcester get involved in some of the small towns. And then some of the fun stuff. I just want to be part of the community because there are so many companies that move into a community and don't live up to what they promise. And I made that commitment to the mayor and Dean, and I've lived up to it, and this company has, and hopefully we'll continue. We will continue, whether it's, I sit on the board of directors of Make-A-Wish, United Way, two great philanthropic charities, and I'll continue to be very involved in those things.
And as you look towards kind of this next stage of your career, and focusing, when you made the announcement, you're going to pivot to philanthropy a little bit more.
Right.
What are the issues that excite you or that you want to devote time and resources to?
Well, anytime we can help kids that may be having their final wish and are going through tough times, that's something I wrap my arms around, and I've done that with Make-A-Wish and obviously St. Jude's and companies and charities like that. So helping kids that really need a lot of help is very important to me. The other thing that we started doing a couple of years ago at the beginning of COVID was working with Seven Hills and Aspire and bringing in different teams. Today we have over 30 different challenged adults coming into our facility and working within the factory on the line. Some have mentors and coaches, some are working independently, and that has been incredibly rewarding. And we were concerned, how would our workforce integrate?
Certainly.
Would they treat them fairly? Would they treat them with respect? And that concern not only hasn't materialized, it's gone the other way. It's so rewarding to see our 800 employees try to help, answer questions, show them maybe a better way to do their tasks they're doing. So that's been pretty cool to see those buses pull up every day and the 30 people, as I said, get off and give them hope and opportunity within their lives.
And I think it's fair to say that's not a decision that you made to try to bolden the bottom line, right? I mean, that's not a lean manufacturing or a systems engineering decision. I mean,
that's the decision to be a part of the community and try to help. And the one thing I've learned through some of the charities I'm involved in, especially United Way of North Central, is there's so many more people that I didn't know that need help and need someone to look up to, someone to mentor them. And it's rewarding when you see that when they happen.
Well, thank you so much for your very public and also private commitment to all those things and all those things that you do behind the scenes, both in your capacity as CEO and just in your private life too. So one of the things that is so important to, I know, a lot of the elected officials and everybody who relies on AAS for their employment is that we keep you here. And I think one of the challenges that we both identified and both recognize is how difficult it is to sustain the workforce that you need to, not just to sustain your operations, but to grow and stay and remain competitive here. So one of the things that we have partnered together on is the Career Technical Initiative, like I mentioned earlier. And so we want to play a kind of a public service announcement in a video that we did to get the message out about how we connect Mass Hire with the people who are looking to upskill and get into industry with the region's biggest employers like you. So do you want to intro this video at all? Or?
Well, I had the opportunity, as you said, Senator, a couple weeks ago in my office to talk a little bit about Mass Hire and our experiences with Mass Hire and how they've helped us and how I think we help them as well and how important it is for this region. And we put together 2 short little videos.
And it's not just about having the resources or aligning it. It's also about telling the story and getting the word out. So with that, let's play the PSA that we put together.
Today's environment, businesses certainly need strategic partnerships, and MassHire is a strategic partner.
And our primary responsibility is to connect our employers to our job seekers, to our education partners here in the region.
They've given us access to various grants that are out there at the state and federal level, access to employees that you may not have been able to find before. They'll give you the ability to train your existing workforce.
We're going to partner with you as a business, create a grant pipeline, connect with our education partner, with our career centers, bring those job seekers into those training programs, and then directly to you as a business.
We are doubling down on investments like the Career Technical Initiative. We're making these investments because they are one of the single best things that we can do to get our local and regional economy back on track and grow it for the future. If you're an employer, call MassHire right now and make sure that you are using all of the services that they provide. All right, so there it is. So we'll get that out, and hopefully it just helps attract young people to MassHire, to connect them with the resources that are there and you. But we've got a few minutes left. I'd like to just talk about North Central as a region kind of broadly. What are the investments that you think that we need to make to attract more employers like you and to continue to make sure that our economy continues to grow and is attractive for 21st century industry?
I mean, public transportation, we have some in the area, but it could be stronger. It's one of the obstacles we face each and every day.
And getting people to work.
Yeah. As we talk to prospective employees, they talk a lot about, do you offer any way of us getting to work? And as an employer, it's difficult to provide transportation for a lot of reasons. So mass transit would be great. Obviously, infrastructure and roads to make it so that people that do drive don't get caught on Route 2 for
chiropractors
an hour. And different incentives for companies to stay and to grow in this region, because it really is a great region. I was never familiar with it growing up, living on the South Shore, but North Central is a great place to raise a family. Some of the real estate prices as a whole compared to other areas of the state
still affordable,
a lot lower. So if we can give access to entry-level mortgages and things like that, we'll be able to keep recruiting, and as long as companies are growing like ourselves as well as others, people will want to stay here and raise families.
And as you mentioned, the Massachusetts economy is really booming with being a global leader in life sciences and biotech. And we're kind of right on the line, right? I mean, we are less than 50 miles from downtown Boston, but we're right kind of on the edge of that bubble and benefiting from really a 21st century economy that is booming. How do we specifically leverage that and make sure that we are rising with that tide?
Well, I think what you're going to find, especially in the area of biotech, there's no more space in Cambridge. There's very little. And I think that the cost of that space is just rising exponentially, even through the last couple of years of COVID. And so I think companies are going to be more open to taking a look of what's out there west of Boston, because as you said, we're not like Texas. It's not like you have to drive 10 hours to get somewhere to the next city. 50 miles and you're reverse commuting and you're in Central Mass, why not build a building in North Central Mass where your space is going to be probably 1/10 the cost of Cambridge? You still have access to that talent that's out there.
And I think, for me too, and I come from an Army family. My grandfather was stationed at Devens, got out, and that's how we ended up in North Central. But it was always said when I was growing up that the worst thing that ever happened was the Army base closing down, and those jobs would never be replaced. I think it's kind of turned into, if we make it that way, the best thing that ever happened.
I think it was a pleasant surprise to a lot of people, because I wasn't personally tied to Devens, but followed it and thought that, wow, thousands of people are going to lose their jobs. And it's been the exact opposite. People were innovative and took some chances and really developed that into a great place to move your company and grow.
And I think the challenge too is to make sure, as you said, that the people who are working in life sciences and biotech and all the exciting things that are happening at Devens, fusion energy, aren't reverse commuting back to Waltham or Lexington or Cambridge, that they're staying and they're living and, as you said, raising a family here in North Central. And to me, it's really investing in our downtowns and our neighborhoods and making those destinations. And I know you've had a big part with all the festivals that Mayor Mazzarella does in Leominster, kind of sustaining that vibrancy in our downtowns. But apart from workforce and transportation, is there one other thing that you believe that we need to do and kind of come together with a vision to invest in North Central to make it more competitive?
I mean, different amenities, whether it's restaurants, you mentioned the downtown areas. You know, people need to feel safe in the downtown areas,
yep.
and they need to be inviting and offer all kinds of services. And I think people will take advantage of them. And I think both Fitchburg and Leominster have done a good job. They will continue to move forward, I hope, and I think the state's going to need to support that because the cities can't do it on their own.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you look at Leominster and Fitchburg 10 years ago compared to today, they have improved, and I think they will continue. They both have great mayors that are moving the platform forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it takes industry and people who are in public office
is a partnership,
rowing
exactly.
in the same direction,
Yeah.
right? So I want to thank you so much for your partnership and your willingness to make these ties between Mass Hire and industry stronger, because I think we all benefit from that. But I'll end with this. So 32 years as a CEO, chairman starting today. Are you going to go take a nap, or what's on the short-term schedule?
I wish. Well, first of all, even if I wanted to, I couldn't go from 100 to 0 in one day. You know, I am going to be very involved in the company, still trying to enhance our brand, not only locally but nationally, because we do a lot across the country. I'm going to be very involved in as you said, in philanthropic charities and stay very involved with the community. Dean Mazzarella and myself have become friends as well as business partners in the community, and I'll continue to make those commitments, and you'll see me around.
We appreciate it, Bruce, and thanks for your leadership. Thanks for being a leader here in North Central and all you've done to make our economy vibrant. So
thank you. You're doing a great job too, and we're going to stay in Leominster. I promise you, we're going to continue to grow.
That's what we like to hear. Thank you so much, Bruce.
Talk to you later. Thank you.
You bet.